Hello guys, welcome back. This is session 2 of Jenkins tutorials. Last time we saw how do we set up Jenkins and get started with it, creating the first Jenkins job. That was the first freestyle job we created. Today we'll see how do we configure Jenkins to send us email on a build failure. For that we need to go into manage Jenkins. Over here you can go into configure system. There are different configuration options that are available over here. What we'll do is we'll straight away head to the email section. So that is available over here. The email notification section wherein we will configure the uh, details that are required for sending us an email. So here in the SMTP server, you have to specify your server that will be dependent on different organizations. So I'm configuring this for a simple application. So I'll use my personal uh, Gmail ID. So for Gmail, the SMTP server is smtp.gmail.com. Then the default user suffix, email suffix is @gmail.com. So according to your organization, it may be different. So you can write anything like say suppose your organization is XYZ. So it may be XYZ dot org. So that will be a suffix, and accordingly you will have to contact your network systems team to get the SMTP server configuration details. So for now I'll keep it gmail.com. So I'll be using my personal ID, hence gmail.com. Now I'll go into advanced. So here I'll take on use SMTP authentication, and in the username I'll specify my email ID and also the password. So you have to specify your email ID and the password. Then you have to take on use SSL. So you have to check it, and you have to specify the port number for Gmail as 465. So this is the SMTP port number for Gmail. Accordingly, your organization may have different SMTP port number. And then I'll just tick on test configuration by sending a test email. And whom do we want to send the email to? What I'll do now is I'll just simply send it to myself. Yeah. So, and I'll just scroll towards the right. Yeah. And I'll click on test configuration. So as you can see, after clicking on test configuration, you got a message stating that email was sent successfully. So I'll check in my inbox whether the email was actually sent or not. This will validate our configuration in Jenkins. So as you can see that I got a mail from myself, a test email from Jenkins. So you can see this is a test email #1 sent from Jenkins. So this validates our configuration, and we'll save it. So that was the configuration. Now what I'll do is I'll configure my job so that when the job build fails, I should get an email. So let's do that. I clicked on configure. Now you can see your job configurations over here. Similarly, we'll go down to the post build section. So this is the post build actions section, in which you have to specify what do you want to do after the build has been done. So whether it successfully completes or it fails, it doesn't matter. What do you want to do after the build? So I'll click on the arrow here and I'll say I want an email notification. Among the different options, I'll select email notification. Now here you have to specify the recipients who will get the email on the build failure. So again, I'll use my own email address and I will, you can specify multiple email addresses for different users that might be belonging to your project. So if you are say 10 of users, then in the same project, then you can mention the email IDs of each and every users, and this list will be a kind of space separated list. So next email you can go as abc at xyz.com space and so on. So you can specify different email addresses. For now I'll just keep one and I'll check the this option which states that send email for every unstable build. So if the build is successful, I won't be getting an email, but as soon as the build fails or is unstable, so you should get an email. So I'm ticking on that. You also have an option to check to send different emails to individuals who broke the build. So in an actual project scenario, you might be having multiple users. So Jenkins will be configured to for different users, and so each user will have his own credential. So if some user commits some code and he builds it and it fails, so everyone in this recipients list will get an email as to who broke the build. So whoever was the user who ran the code and the build broke, so you will come to know which user was it. So this is also an option. So in general scenario we use that option, but for now we'll just tell Jenkins that send me an email for every unstable build. So now I'll apply and I'll save it. So let's try building the project again now. I'll click on build now so that we come to know whether we actually get an email on build failure. As you know that we have changed the code so that the build actually fails. So let's try it now. Click on build now. So as you can see, we'll go into the console output of this build, which is build number 6, and here it's written that the build has failed. So the reason is that there was a command on line number 2 of the script which states that the de-echo command was not found. So there is no such command as de-echo, due to which the build failed, and hence the post build actions are that it is sending an email to this email address marked as build failure. So I'll go back to the project. You can see over here that this build number 6 has failed, and it's the red ball, and whichever builds were successful, you can see a blue ball over here. So let's see in my email inbox whether I got an email for a build failure. So you can see that this was the first test email that we got, and this is the second email that I got from Jenkins stating build failed in Jenkins, and it will also state the job name, so the first job. So you can see over here, this is my job name. So I got which job failed and which build of that job failed. So I'll click on it and I'll see what exactly it states. So it states that started by some anonymous user and it failed while attempting to execute this script, for the reason that this command was executed and it couldn't find the command. So command not found, hence the build failed. So now what we'll do is we'll rectify the build. We'll go back. I'll configure the project so that this time the build doesn't fail. So I'll rectify it by removing the D. So now the command is proper and it should execute successfully. So I'll apply it and I'll save it, and again I'll build by clicking on build now. So let's go into the console output of this build, which is build number 7. So this build has executed successfully and it is still sending email to this that the build has successfully executed. So you can see Jenkins build is back to normal. So it also sends you an email that it has recovered from whatever instability it faced. So it will state that this was the job that failed earlier and this is the job which has successfully completed its build and the build number which was successful. So what I'll do is I'll try this again. I'll go back to project. I'll click on build now. So this is the build number 8. So as you can see, build number 7 has got a blue ball because it was successful. Similarly, build number 8, which was again executing the same thing, so it succeeded. And now we'll see whether it sends an email or not. So this time if you see, it has finished successfully. It has executed the commands. I'll refresh my inbox, but this time I am not getting any email. So this validates whether the Jenkins configuration that we have made is proper or not. And that's it for today. So we saw how to configure Jenkins to send an email on job failure by configuring Jenkins server so as to send an email. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching.